guys, welcome back to another video on the channel today. As yesterday I released the track guide for this car on this track, I thought it was good timing to do the race that I had on this track. This was when I was a B license. I'm obviously an A license, very close to the S license now. I'm only a little bit off the S license. So this was about a week or maybe a bit longer than that ago, a few days after I got the game, and we had reasonably good speed at this track, as you've seen on the guide. We got into the top 10 on the top 10 stars, and this was a great race with the guy in front. Although there was, as the title suggests, there was an incident at the end which you need to stay around and watch right to the end, because I don't know whether you guys are going to think I was in the wrong or what, but I feel I was in the right, really. I feel like I was entitled to do what I did, and I had the position on the road, etc. So we'll get to that when we come to it anyway, and we'll talk about this race. A great battle with this guy for the first like 8 or 9 laps, whatever it was. As you can see there, we were really on the pressure right from the start. I felt I had more speed than the guy in front, even though his qualifying time was very good. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd fastest time that anyone had done in the top 10 stars. So he obviously had good pace here, but I felt I was able to drive smoother without pushing the limits and stay with him. Obviously the slipstream does help on this game, so I was able to keep it really clean, and he just couldn't really get me out of the slipstream. As you can see there, I was able to save fuel, which I thought the more fuel I saved behind him, with it being a pit stop race, this was all about just driving hard and really pushing the limits, and then just pitting for fuel and tyres, and then going again flat out. So what my aim was basically to do was just save a bit of fuel, so that I have to put less fuel in at the pit stop than he would need to do. As you can see now, I've basically used level 2 fuel for quite a while now, so I'm basically saving. If he's using 1, he's probably trying to pull away from that slipstream. I'm able to use 2 and not lose so much because I've got the slipstream to aid me down the straights. So it's a little tip for you guys. If you come into a race like this where you want to gain a little bit of an advantage at the pit stop, it's a good idea to do is just save a bit of fuel when you can. Obviously if he starts losing a bit too much, put it back to 1 and try and bring him back in with the slipstream. So you can see there, we're basically very even at this stage of the race. I'm trying my hardest to push the limits without making an error. This was, like I say, quite early on when I got the game, so I've made progress with the game since this, but I think this track really suited me. I enjoyed the track. It's a really nice flowing track. I really like driving this track. This corner in particular, you have to throw it in there, wait for the grip to build, and then you push really hard through the corner and out the corner, like I said on the video yesterday with the track guide. I'm not sure if some of you guys may have missed the video because YouTube notifications were not working yesterday. Apparently they're really delayed, so a lot of people would not have gotten the notification. Some people will have done, but I think a lot of people didn't. I noticed the views were very low because the notifications were not working. So if you haven't seen the video already, make sure you have a look at my video before this. It was the one video uploaded before this. It's a track guide, so you can see where times lost, etc., and times gained, and it'll be handy for the next time these cars are on this track for either a sprint race or the 10 lap race that they do. So you can see we're really just trying to hold on there at the moment. We're still running that 2 fuel. You can see we're getting away without running maximum fuel all the time. I'm able to save a little bit of fuel, but as you can see there, the gap started to increase, so I've put it back down to that full power setting to try and close in a little bit on him here. You can see I should be able to gain a bit on this straight, but he's obviously going to try and break the toe down the straight. He actually doesn't do it on this lap. He stays to the right hand side, obviously trying to get as close to that right hand side to try and avoid me getting as much slipstream as I can, but it really doesn't really make any difference there. I still picks it up slightly. Another great corner, this is fast left-hander. Again, you have to wait for that grip to build, and then once it's there, you put the foot flat down and use some of the curb on the outside. You can see there on the top right hand screen, you can see we've built up a quite fairly substantial lead from 3rd place already. It's 3.6 seconds away, so we're really pulling away from everyone at the front of the grid here now, and a lot of B license and A license drivers in this race, so it must have been a top split race, I'm presuming, because the guy in front was an A license, although he goes by license rather than the lap time you do, although his lap time was the 2nd or 3rd fastest in the top 10 stars, so it might not have been a top split race at this point, because judging by everyone else's pace, I'm not too sure. But obviously it depends on what time of day you race in these races, so you never know whether you're in the top split. It would be nice if it did let you know what split you were in and how many splits, like iRacing does. It tells you after the race, etc., or you can have an app to let you know what split you're in, I think it is. So it'd be nice if you, at the end of the race, you did know whether you were in like the top split, second split, etc., just so you know what the competition was like compared to yourself. But you can see there we've pulled nearly half a second and a bit over from third place, so we're really pulling away. I'm obviously using the full power now because I think he's really going to try and break that slipstream, so I've got the full power and I'm just aiming to stay within his slipstream now until the pit stop and hope that maybe I can undercut him in the pits. It's going to be extremely close, obviously, with the gap that we're behind at the moment. He's got about a second. You can see there's just under a second the gap, so if I've gained anything in the fuel, a second could be the difference. It's going to be really close, but I'm trying my hardest to stay with him. You can see there, obviously I was new to the game at this point, so just trying my hardest to keep pace, going through these really fast corners, really enjoyable section of the track, trying to stay within his slipstream at the same time as keeping pace through there, you can see. And then he's really pushing, see how he's getting straight over to the right hand side to try and avoid me getting the slipstream, but I'm onto that, so I got myself over there really fast. And he kept running really wide through this corner, and it was enabling me to get a bit of a pull out of that corner and gain quite a bit with the slipstream gaining down into this tight corner, this really tricky chicane that I mentioned yesterday, where you got to brake a little bit before the 100, take it in fourth gear, use a lot of the curbs, and then power your way out. Really enjoyable section of track when you get it right. And you can see there we gained quite a bit on him there. We got the gap down to under around half a second there, you can see there, and then braking down for this tight corner, down into second gear. At this stage, I think when I was doing these races, I was running the traction control on the ABS on weak, which I've now changed to default because I found it's actually a little bit faster running the default setting on the ABS. And with weak, it seems it can be a little bit faster with it on weak through fast corners, but overall on the lap it tends to be better just to run the ABS on default, I found, with all these types of cars. You can see we got really close to him there, and then I was going to make a move, but he started doing the snaking down the straight, which I just didn't really want to bother with, because if I try and do that, I'm probably not going to gain anything anyway. I'm probably going to lose time overall snaking behind him, so I just stayed to the right hand side and thought I'll just stick to your slipstream at the moment, save fuel when I can, and see if I can get you in the pit stop. Obviously it's going to be the next lap that we're going to probably end up pitting, or it might be the lap after, I'm not too sure. Looking at the fuel, you can see there, we probably could have got away with saving the fuel a bit more and trying not to pit, but the problem with that was it was the tyre wear. It did tend to lose quite a lot of time on this track if you did try and save your tyres, because obviously tyre wear was on times 10 I think for this race. So when you got to the last 2 or 3 laps, you were like, with saving fuel, you were about, I think it was like 4 to 5 seconds off pace. So 2 or 3 laps that, and you've pretty much lost a pit stop. So it wasn't really worth saving fuel on this track. As you can see, I lost a lot of time there and got a slowdown, which has really hurt the fuel saving I had done. So I've got to try and lose that time on the slowdown and not to lose too much time to the driver in front. Sometimes you can do it and you seem to not really lose much. Other times you're lifting off and it doesn't seem to go down the timer. I've been on a straight pretty much dead still and it's not moved. I don't know if there's some glitches within that, and you can see there he's pushing really hard, obviously trying to break any slipstream, and he nearly loses it coming out of that corner. So braking hard into this final corner. I'm now going to really push. I don't know if he's going to pit this lap. Let's just see if he pits this lap. Is he going to go into the pits? Yeah, he's going to go in the pits. So what we do is we follow him into the pits, and we're going to hope that under fueling, obviously we're going to have to put a little less fuel than him in. Maybe we might come out close to him, and obviously the slowdown penalty would have gone down because we've gone in the pits. It's probably going to have removed itself a bit. You can see now, because we're going to go slow on the straight. My idea was hoping that it would go down a bit, as you can see, but it's not moved. It obviously knows that if you're going in the pits, it's not going to change. But we came out right behind him. We actually came out pretty much the exact same time, and third place was right behind us as well. I'm not sure if the guy in, actually that was fourth place first. I think third place hadn't pitted yet, so I don't know if the guy behind us wasn't pitting overall, like from the start, or whether he'd already pitted, but we managed to pull away fairly. As you can see now, I'm able to really put a challenge on now, because I've got enough fuel to last me to the end running full fuel. There's no need to fuel save now, I can just go flat out. So it was about really attacking now and trying to get our way past this guy in who's now in second place, but technically he's in first place. So going into the really tricky chicane again, so close. I actually had to lift a bit then, I would have probably hit him. So he seems to be very erratic. So I went down the left hand side for this corner. You're going to see now. I thought if I get down the left hand side, I've got the inside line for this corner up ahead. So I'm going to brake very late. I've got the inside line. You can see on the replay up front on the top right hand corner. I've got that move done, but then he took a tighter line, and I technically could have stayed and been a bit of a trouble here. I had the inside line, but I decided to give it up because I could see that he was not going to give me space. You can see there he was taking that corner whether I was there or not, so I would have ended up getting hit and taken probably into the wall, which would have cost me a lot of time. So I gave that place up. I thought I'm not going to risk anything there. I think I could have probably carried on that line and made him take the wider line into the first part of the chicane, but then he would have had the inside. But whether he would have given me the space, I wasn't too sure. He seemed very erratic throughout the race, as you can see there. Again, left to right down the straight, and then going into this tight left-hander, you can see I'm taking it nice and tight. He took it very tight that time, but sometimes you get a bit better pull out the corner if you don't take it too tight. As you can see there, we're really in the slipstream now, and we're really mounting and attacking. You can see on that top right-hand corner on the replay camera, the TV, we're really attacking the guy now. As you can see, I make a move down the left, and I can see that he's going to just shut it off. So I go back over to the right, and then push myself over, but he's going to cover that line as well. But coming from a wider line now, I can try and take a tighter line through this corner now and get a pull out of the corner. But you can see again, he's defended that reasonably well that time there without being too aggressive. I don't think he did anything wrong there really. That was just good defensive driving. As you can see now, we're actually losing out on the slowdown now, because I don't know if he's actually having to save fuel or what, but we're actually losing the time because we're losing pace basically. I think we have more pace at this stage of the race than the guy in front. So we're really attacking, and we've got just just over 3 laps to do this move and try and get it done. I'm trying to figure out a way of where he's weak and where I can pull a move off, and where I need to get like a pull out of a corner so I can get in his slipstream and make a move. This corner he was very strong on, but he was really pushing the limits. I took that a little bit too safe then, but I didn't want to make any massive mistakes. So going into the final corner again, I wanted to take the corner really tight and get on the power as early as I physically could. You can see there we got on the power really early again, getting in his slipstream. He's going to start, he's faking whether he's going to make a move to the left, but in the end he just stays right. I find that sometimes when you're that close behind someone, it's normally best just to stay your line rather than following them all over the track. You can end up losing a lot of time. You can see that I gained a bit into this corner again. I started realising that this corner was quite, I could gain a bit of time through that corner, and this is where you're going to see a little incident on the last lap. We're going to get to that in a bit, but you're going to see why I don't think personally that I was in the wrong, and something that happened after. So I go left and he went to block me left. That really annoyed me, that, because I went right, he blocked me right, so I went to go left and then he went to block me again to the left. It was like a double defensive move, and I didn't like that because I had a run on him down that left hand side and he cut me off and totally blocked that move, which I think was a little bit naughty because I was basically in that gap, so I was a little bit wound up at that stage. And I just thought, you know what, I'll stick to it and I'll find a way past you however it happens. You can see there he pulls away a bit out of that corner, but he's definitely under pressure. You can see our lap times are in the 40s, but I think we have more pace in this. We were getting held up at this stage. I think I could have been lapping in a very low 40s at this stage of the race. Even though the tyre wears on, I think I could have definitely been on 14.3 to 4, even in a race situation with the tyre wear and fuel, etc. But I was just doing my best just to keep it cool and try and make a move when that move occurred. He seemed very erratic, and he seemed like he didn't seem too confident in his driving. If you ask me, from my position, I felt like I was driving smoother and cleaner and had more speed than him, so I just kept to me plan. I did go back into his slipstream there. I knew he was going to go back over to that right, so you can see I was literally waiting for him to go back over to that right hand side. So this lap now, I wanted to concentrate on getting very close to him again and trying to give myself a shot on the last lap, because the gap at the moment is a little bit too, it's not really in a position where I can make an overtaking move, so I wanted to get as close to him as I can going into the final lap where I'd mount an attack, and that's what I obviously did, and you're going to see what happened there now. So you can see again we're getting the slipstream really strong. I don't know if he's having to save fuel sometimes or something from the pit stop, maybe he didn't put as much in as I did, but I really felt like I had more speed than this this guy at this stage of the race. So now attacking into this chicane again, you can see how close we're getting. We are very, very close, just under 2/10 behind, right behind now. Go to the right hand side, he's going to cover it, but then again, he actually gave me a little nudge there, which again annoyed me. I know he had the line, and I know he probably was turning that way, but I felt I was entitled to a little bit more space than that. So at this point, I was basically thinking, do you know what, we're going to play that game. We're going to go touring car style, and British touring car style, and really go and make a move happen. You can see they're getting really close again, and if you look at that top right hand corner in the TV camera, you can see how close we were, driving really hard and fast, and we've pulled that over a 10-second gap from third place. That just shows you how hard we were pushing it. So you can see there his car nearly lost it again on the curb where he's really pushing, and I felt like I was keeping it a lot smoother. So I knew I was obviously getting to him and putting him under a lot of pressure, and he wasn't really coping that well. So coming out last corner, I got a little bit of a twitch on the rear end as I put the power down, which really hurt me. I think if without that twitch, we could have made a move into this corner now. So what I did was I just stayed in his slipstream, and my aim was to take a really tight line into this corner, get out as far wide as I could. You can see there, staying out wide, and then I could see him struggling with the tyre wear. So I got my car onto the left hand side on the curb, and I'm now on his inside line. You can see in the camera, keep your eyes on that top right hand corner now to what happens. He gives me a nudge there, pushes me again, and pushes me again. I give him a bit of space there, and then he pushes me and tries to push me over. I just keep my wheel to the left, and I end up nudging him because he basically wouldn't give me any space. But I felt I deserved the space on the track there, and he ended up losing out. For once, he ended up losing out. I got to slow down obviously for cutting that corner where I couldn't take the corner because he had barged into me. But I really wasn't worried about that. But keep an eye in the mirror. I didn't spot this until after the race when I watched the replay. Just have a look in that top right, the replay camera now, what he did. He obviously wasn't happy about getting overtaken. He obviously thought it was unfair, even though I didn't. And watch what he tried to do here. He clean tried to take me out, go straight into me. Well, I'll show you that what he actually tried to do on the replay camera after we go over the finishing line. So we'll have a little look at what he did. It was quite funny that he totally missed me as well. I was actually laughing at it after. But again, I'd now had a clear which was really daft for his position. He had a second place position there. He might have, if he would have just kept it on the track, if he didn't have a slowdown, he might have been able to be very close to me, but he chose to wreck the race. I didn't feel like I needed to let him back past. I don't feel I did anything wrong. If I feel I do something wrong, I will let the driver back past. But at that point, I did not feel I did anything wrong, and even watching the replay, I don't think I did anything wrong there. So we go over the line, and it was a nice victory, and we'll show you what the guy did now on a replay. Now we'll go to his car. As you can see, I'll even show you. I think we're going to show you what actually happened going into that corner. So we're going to slow it down now in slow motion. You can see now I get the inside line because I've managed to take a much better line through that corner because I knew that he was struggling there. So I took a real tight line, and I don't think he expected me to get there. I get up on the curb, I'm on the track still, and I've got a better pull out of this corner now, so I'm gaining more speed than he is. You can see there we've got more speed, and at that point we're level with him. But now we're starting to pull away from him. But at this point you can see my car takes a little knock there, takes a knock there, going into that corner. So then I give him a bit of space, but then he gives me another knock around about there, and then he gives me another knock here, which basically knocks me onto the side. So I'm on full lock left there. I can't do anything about it. I've not turned into him, as you can see there, and then I'm trying to hold the car straight to keep it from hitting that barrier, and we come out of it best. I think that was totally his fault. And then just to end it, this is what he did, which was really funny, and it just wrecked his whole race, and he ended up leaving the lobby. But I'm not bothered. I feel like I deserved the win. I pulled the move off. He didn't like it, and that's what his answer to the whole situation was. Bit of an idiot, but I'm sure we'll come up against him again. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more of these videos very soon.